Welcome back, everybody. This is Sarcasm Speaks. It's Jared and Bob, right? Obviously, I forgot to state the obvious here at the beginning. Um, I do have an update on the YouTube appeal that we had, but before I get to that, I have an opening rant. Um, it's one that we've spoke about many times, but just how much I really fucking hate Cambridge. Um, I just can't hammer that point home enough how terrible of a place it is, um, and how impossible it is to get in and out. So I don't know. Well, that's not true. I was about to say I don't know what happened. No, I know exactly what happened. So for the last like 3 months, I've been able to get in and out of Cambridge relatively with ease, right? Like somewhere between an hour and a half commute, in and out both ways, right? So on a tough day, it would be an hour and a half, maybe an hour 45, whatever. This morning, it took me 2 hours to get into Cambridge. On my way home today, it took me over 2.5 hours. It took me like 2 hours and 40 minutes to get home today from Cambridge. It's 43 fucking miles from my house. In the same amount of time that it took me to drive 43 miles from Cambridge to my house in North Attleboro, I could have flown from Boston to Orlando. I could have literally flown to the other end of the East Coast. It's just shy of a 3-hour flight from Boston to Orlando. Same amount of time to drive. Well,
You know how
in
long it would have
a
taken?
shorter amount of time, I could have gone to Myrtle Beach.
Not direct.
Well, yeah,
Um,
but Charleston, right? Like Charleston, Myrtle Beach, like that. Like I could have gone from Logan to South Carolina quicker, right? If I got on a plane the same time, if someone two, it doesn't have to be me, two separate individuals, someone stepped on a plane the second I stepped in my car leaving the parking garage in Cambridge, the person on the plane would have landed in Charleston before I got home. How fucking absurd is that?
the only part you're forgetting is that from Cambridge to Logan still would have taken.
Well, yeah. No, I'm saying like if someone at Logan, like started the starting point for person A, right, is at Logan, and the starting point for person B, which is me, is starting in Cambridge. So Cambridge to North Attleboro took longer than it would take to fly from Boston to Charleston.
See, this is why I'm telling the children if they invent the teleporter, they probably don't have to go to school anymore.
Yeah.
See, none of them want to go to school, but none of them want to
Do
invent the
anything
teleporter
else.
either.
Yeah. Yeah.
How the fuck, dude? It is not an hour and a half to fly from Boston to fucking New York.
Yeah. No, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, so it's
Um,
saying Charleston and Nashville are 2.5 hour flights. I want to say Charleston's less than that.
yeah.
Or you know what? Because it's not all in the air, right?
Right, right, right. They don't account
Um,
for airtime. It's like from
yeah.
pulling off the little
Yeah,
runway,
so
the thing,
maybe it is two and
the
a half.
walkway. What's that? The
From
catwalk, whatever it's called.
from doors closed to deplaning, I guess, is probably 2.5.
Right, right.
So, yeah, it could have been in Charleston.
Yeah,
But where are we at on that teleporter though?
yeah,
Do we have any ground on that?
yeah. So that's what I mean. Like I do know where it came from, right? It's school. School is back.
Well, school is
So
back and people so the other thing is on Tuesdays or Tuesdays, Thursdays outside of the summer months,
everyone
people
is
generally
yeah,
go to
yeah.
work.
Tuesday is the worst day of the week for traffic by far. Mondays and Fridays aren't bad. So Mondays and Fridays are probably the best day for traffic in a week. Tuesday is the worst day for traffic. And then Wednesday, Thursday are like slightly less than Tuesday, but they still kind of suck.
Well, dude, I even know because I don't drive anywhere, and I was up early, but even I mean, I drove around a little bit today, but even
Mhm.
I noticed I'm like, this is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Just like 138 in Stoughton.
Yeah. So I don't know what it was. It's the first Tuesday back. It's after Labor Day, right? So everyone's vacations are over, right? So you have summertime, people take vacations, your kids are out of school, people are doing whatever. Now all the kids are back in school, all the vacations are over, people are back to work. It's a Tuesday, it's summer's over, right? It's like the perfect storm of just suck. I spent 4.5 hours total commuting today. Left my house at 6:45 this morning, and I got home at 7 o'clock. It's just it's stupid. So I hate Cambridge. I hate this project that I'm on. Everything is awful. But I only have 20 more days before I start my new job. So I can do
Who's counting?
anything. I
You
can do
said
anything for
those
20
business days
days.
or regular days?
No, 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 regular days. God, no, not business days. I think there's what, 3 days left this week? Three, five. There's 13. I have 13 business days left.
That means you definitely got two more Tuesdays.
Yeah, that is two more Tuesdays. Yeah, for sure. But it's yeah, I cannot wait. Can't wait to not have to go to fucking Cambridge.
Uber helicopter service, do they do that?
Yeah, I don't think they would Uber helicopter from Cambridge to North Attleboro. I think that's a within the city limits thing.
I mean, if you don't do it, they'll do it if you pay them enough.
Well, that's true. But then I would have to have them drop me off probably in like Mansfield and then find my way home from there, which it's not that far.
No, just land on top of the mall.
Yeah, that's a good point. The the
Yeah, see, you're not thinking.
the top of the garage at the mall is definitely not always full. They could probably make a good landing pad there.
You gotta think better.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah. I got to get some of those flares, like glow sticks, right? So just throw them out there so the helicopter can land. Maybe I'll do that at, you know, maybe the helicopter will only need to pick me up at like 7 a.m. and we'll be able to get to Boston. How fast do helicopters move?
No clue.
I just opened my calculator. What a dum dum. I needed to open
That should get you
Safari.
pretty far.
Yeah. Not as far as helicopter. How fast do helicopters fly? Helicopters typically fly at speeds between 75 and 150 miles an hour, also known as 65 to 130 knots. Um, however, specialized military and experimental helicopters can reach up to 200 miles per hour or more. Man, is there anything more terrifying than being in a helicopter going 200 miles an hour? You're in a really shitty
Sure,
plane,
there are.
and the only thing keeping you there is a seatbelt that you have in the car. Like the same seatbelt that you have in your car, you have in a really shitty plane that doesn't have doors. Yeah, I'm all set. I'm all set with that. I don't really have any desire to ever go in a helicopter. Like after Kobe died in a helicopter crash, I was like, yeah, you know what? Like you start to look into it a little bit more and you realize kind of like how shitty helicopters actually are. And it's like, oh, like if there's any wind or any fog, you can't be in a helicopter. Like they say like you cannot fly a helicopter. Like they're really not a great mode of trans they're a great mode of transportation for Southern California. And that's it. Because it's sunny and 75 every day.
What do you mean? They get the marine layer.
Yeah. Like I suppose maybe West Texas and like Arizona, New Mexico probably too, because I don't think they get like storms or anything. But like outside of like the southwestern US area, don't ever be in a helicopter. Like there's no reason to ever be in a helicopter if you're not in the southwest of the United States. because it's
I just don't.
literally
I don't
like,
see a situation where I would be in a
yeah,
helicopter.
yeah, like the littlest bit of wind can fuck up the whole thing. And like I said, there's no actual doors, right? Everyone's like, oh, no, they get doors.
Do you think the
They're
helicopter
shitty.
industry is what's keeping up the teleporter? Because those things are obsolete if the
Yeah.
teleporter is invented.
Yeah. Big helicopter.
I think big helicopters behind this.
Yeah. Probably big airplanes too, because airplanes would
Yeah.
probably be obsolete. Like who would fly in an airplane if you
Who
could
would
just
do anything
teleport?
if there were teleporters?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Big transportation.
Big, yeah. Big trains, planes, and automobiles.
Well, because then if you think about it, it's really kind of the government too, because then you would be able to cut the Department of Transportation, right?
Well, no,
And
because then they would just be in charge of the teleporters.
oh God, I know, right? Jesus Christ, that would be terrible. Put the government in charge of teleporters, you'd be ending up in fucking Albuquerque.
I would say, you think the lines for fucking TSA are bad?
Yeah. Like, dude, I was just trying to get to Cambridge. I ended up in Albuquerque.
Better alternative, dude.
Yeah, honestly, probably. You have better drugs in Albuquerque, probably. But yeah, I mean, no one would do anything if the teleporter existed.
But you got to remember, though, the teleporter doesn't just go wherever you want, whenever you want it to.
Right.
You can only teleport to another portal.
So this might be a hits blunt moment. Um, but when you use a teleporter, right, in this fictional scenario of a hypothetical world where teleporters exist, does the teleporter copy and paste you, or does it kill you and rebirth you
I
in the new
imagine it's like
location?
the big canister things at the museum, whatever museum that was, where it just like sends you through a fucking section of tubes and you just kind of end up where you need to be.
Yeah. Okay. So it's like a physical teleporter where you're like flying in a tube.
I don't know. I haven't invented it yet.
Oh, that's true.
Actually, I haven't invented it yet because I'm not smart enough. I need one of these fucking kids to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know what the mode is going to be.
But that's one of those
That's for
things, right?
them to
Because
decide.
I've heard people talk about this as far as like space travel goes and like time travel, is that it's one of those things that like we can't fathom right now because we only move, like we live in a three-dimensional world, right? So we're like, we only know the three dimensions, but the fourth dimension is time, right? And like theoretically, like well, we do move through time, right? But we can only move in one direction. So not to be like the band or anything, but if there was a way to move in multiple directions in time, like we can move in multiple directions in space, that's like I've heard people talk about that. They're like, if a teleporter was real, would it just copy and paste you, right? Like physically move you from point A to point B, or would you cease to exist and it would like rebirth you in the new spot? Right. So not to be like you start over as a baby, but like you cease to exist, meaning like all of your atoms and molecules are like ripped apart and then you like start fresh over there. Or would it, like I said, just copy and paste you, like pick you up and kind of transport you? It's one of those caveats that like when people
Mm.
talk about like time travel, they don't really seem to consider like what the deal is there.
Kind of ruining my buzz on the whole teleporter thing. Trying to, logically figure this out. But the one flaw in you trying to figure this out using logic is that you're not smart enough to.
That's
So
true.
stop it.
That's true. I am not nearly smart enough to figure out teleportation.
Right.
So
So let someone figure it out and you can ask questions later.
you can say that to one of the kids though, if they're ever like, "Oh yeah," like jokingly, if they're like, "Oh, I figured it out," be like, "Okay, so does it copy and paste you, or does it kill you and rebirth you?"
See, this is the thing though. I don't care because when they tell me I figured it out, show me.
Yeah,
Because I don't care if I'm copy and pasted or cut and pasted or sent through the tubes, like
as long as it works, right?
as long as it works.
Yeah.
And if it only hurts like a little bit to get out the other side.
Yeah, imagine what that would feel like if it literally like pulled all your atoms apart and then reassembled them.
Might feel better than normal, dude.
Yeah, it's true.
It
It's
might be an improvement.
um so yeah, Cambridge sucks. Um and apparently a helicopter I could get to Cambridge in roughly 45 minutes if I were to have one. So but yeah, so anyway, let's talk about that YouTube appeal because we talked about it a few episodes ago now, where the John Gruden's emails episode, I think it was like 295 or something like that. Um, we got a notice that they pulled the episode. So it's not a strike, right? It's not a strike to the account or anything. They just pulled the episode for medical misinformation. And that was, again, that was one of those we went back, or I went back and listened to it. We were talking about Aaron Hernandez and Ray Lewis allegedly killing people. Um, and somehow that flagged an algorithm for medical misinformation. I didn't know that Ray Lewis and Aaron Hernandez were doctors, right? Performing medical procedures, which would then cause us to be spreading medical misinformation. But I appealed it, right? And it was one of those because it wasn't a strike. I wasn't able to like write a response because we got a strike before, right? And I appealed it and we won. Um, and we were just on probation, right, until like August or whatever. Um, but I got to write a response, right? Like I wrote in like we were talking about sandwiches or whatever. It was the sandwich conspiracy episode. Um, this one didn't allow me to write a response again because it wasn't a strike. It was just a notice that they removed it for a community guideline violation. And I got the notice the other day. They rejected the appeal. They said we're upholding the removal based on our original claims. So
Am I still here?
yeah, you're here.
Okay, my computer's fucking tweaking out. Yeah, so I mean, I guess all that medicine where Ray Lewis killed a guy,
Yeah,
medical.
yeah, and where Aaron Hernandez killed multiple people. Yeah, but that episode again, not that we're super famous and not that like anyone probably goes that far back in our catalog to listen to episodes, but it's the principle of it, right? Like you're wrong. Like YouTube is wrong. Like it is not, we were not speaking. Trust me, there were plenty of other episodes and other times that we were talking about medical issues, right? That wasn't one of them. You're just wrong. And you're like,
Yep.
nope, we're upholding our original decision. Your appeal has been rejected. Okay, so you didn't even go back. So no,
Yeah.
you didn't go back and listen.
Well, I mean, to be fair, what are we gonna do about it?
No, nothing.
So they have it.
Yeah,
YouTube knows that.
right. And like I said, realistically, it doesn't really matter because it's not like we monetize our channel. Like no, we don't make money off of anything. Like there's no advertising on it. Like there's nothing there. So it's not really. And again, it's not a strike, right? So it's whatever. But it's just annoying that YouTube sucks like that. They're just like, yeah, no, we removed it. Okay, fuck you then. So YouTube sucks. Um, I guess I got one more thing before we wrap this up. I've trying to just watch the clock here and make sure we're on schedule. Um,
On pace.
on pace. Yeah, we're on pace to cover. Um, I saw this the other day and I am super excited for it. It is a docu series, which that's a whole other thing, right? Like no one makes documentaries anymore. They make docu series. series, whatever the plural of series is, series. They make docu-series. Um, but whatever. I mean, it is what it is. There's a docu-series coming out on Mr. McMahon. So Vince McMahon, for anyone that doesn't know who Mr. McMahon is, if you live under a rock or you didn't grow up in the 90s, in the 2000s, um, he has a 6-part docuseries on Netflix that's coming out on September 25th. And I am thrilled for it. So let me read from Variety, which is like the big like Hollywood magazine. It's like a quick little clip here. Um, the official synopsis of the series is as follows. Mr. McMahon chronicles the rise and fall of Vince McMahon, controversial businessman and co-founder of the WWE. From his transformation of the WWE from a small regional business into a global entertainment powerhouse to the explosive sexual misconduct allegations that led to his eventual resignation, this 6-episode series offers a deep dive into McMahon's life and his enduring franchise. Culled from over 200 hours of interviews with McMahon himself, in parentheses, I say prior to his resignation, his family members, business associates, and some of the most iconic names in wrestling history, as well as a journalist who uncovered McMahon's allegations, filmmaker Chris Smith, who brought you Tiger King, and executive producer Bill Simmons, who brought you 30 for 30, present an unflinching, no-holds-barred look at one of the most enigmatic figures in sports entertainment history. I mean, it's pretty awesome. So I know we've talked about this before, but like we grew up in the prime wrestling era, right? Like the Attitude Era, the WWF Attitude Era was peak wrestling, right? And it was from, was it 95 or 94 to like 2001 or 2002, I think is technically considered the Attitude Era. Um, Might be later. Might be 96 to '02. I know we
I'd
did it
like to
once. We
think,
looked it up.
yeah, it's either in 96 or in 97 it starts, and
Yeah, or it
then
starts with like No Mercy, which was in February, right? Like it was after the Royal Rumble. So it's like No Mercy in 1996 or 1997 through, SummerSlam of like 2004, right? Like that's been dubbed like the Attitude Era. Um, but it was great, right? It was peak wrestling. It's all those guys from when we were growing up: Stone Cold, The Rock, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Kurt Angle, Chris Jericho, Kane, Undertaker, Mankind, like Big Show, all the other guys from DX, right? X-Pac, Road Dogg, China, like all of them. You can just keep going on and on and on and on and on. Um, Mark Henry, the world's strongest man, he was great. I think of all the things, here comes a tangent. Um, of all the things that we do, like we get together and sit around and name like random ass shit, right? Like you see those memes where it's like, oh, all guys do when they get together is just name sports players from like the 90s or whatever. I feel like we could just ramble on for WWF fighters for hours. Like I think it would almost be endless.
yeah, I mean, I feel like there's more NFL players, but
The WWF guys are more iconic.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like I can't remember. I'm not Jimo, right? I can't remember the whole starting offensive line from like the 1999 Broncos or something. Right? Even though was that the year they won? The Mark Schlereth was on that offensive line. Um, but yeah, so this is going to be a wild docuseries. So I did a little bit more reading about it, and it turns out that they started, so the whole thing was filmed over 4 years, right? So they interviewed the director, Chris Smith, and he said over the 4 years of production, the story evolved in truly shocking ways, culminating in some extremely harrowing allegations. The final product is a revealing documentary we believe offers a rich and nuanced portrait of the man and the complex legacy he left behind. So it sounds like they started filming this as a way to be like, oh, like Vince is probably going to retire soon, because there were rumors that he was going to sell anyway, before he was forced to sell because of the allegations that came out. Um, so my guess is they started filming this as like a tribute, right? And then in the middle of it all, like the allegations came out, and then it just turned into chaos, and it completely changed, the focus of the series, or maybe slightly changed, right? I don't know I don't know what the focus is going to be, right? Like I can't imagine. It would be, honestly, it would be a huge letdown if, like, of the 6 episodes, like only 2 of them focus on like the WWE, and like the other 4 are like the allegations and like how he's a scumbag or something. You know what I mean? Like I don't care. Like I never thought he was a great guy to begin with, right? Like you can cover all the allegations and his downfall in 1 episode. Like don't stretch
Uh,
that shit out.
which is ideally the last.
Right. Right. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm excited for it. I will be watching it at some point. Just because, like, again, it was such a major part of our childhood, right?
As far I was talking with someone at the gym too, I'm like, it just used to be so good. And like that's the funny, like it was like legit can't miss TV.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And then it got shitty. And now it still is.
Yep. Yep. And they just keep trying to bring guys back from the Attitude Era to like recapture that, you know, momentum or whatever. And they just can't do it because those guys are literally in their 60s at this point, because that was 30 years ago.
Yeah, and I mean wrestling always had that issue with like retreads, but especially now.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I was trying to think the other day, I was talking to someone at work. I think this was like last week or the week before, just talking about wrestling. And I said something like, the guys that I think are new are not new. They're old now. Like I was thinking like, oh, Randy Orton, right? Like, so of like the new crowd, I was like, oh, it's like Randy Orton and Roman Reigns and, you know, Batista, right? Like they were like the new guys when I was ending watching, but I was ending watching that probably in like 2005, 2004, right? So it's like they've been in the WWE for 20 years. They're
Yeah,
not
those
like the
guys are
new
old.
guys anymore. So like I physically don't know the new guys, right? Like I don't know anyone who's new and young in the WWE,
So
because again, like those were new, they were new 20 years ago.
I mean, and that's the other part. I haven't watched in so long, so I don't even know.
Like I think
Like,
Dave
dude,
Batista's like 50 or almost 50. I think
he's
he's like in
fucking
his like,
older than that. I think he's like 55.
oh really?
He's older than you think.
Yeah.
Um, well, dude, not for nothing. He debuted fucking 25 years ago.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Um, thought I had something. I don't think I had something. Maybe I had something. Definitely lost it. Nope, definitely lost it. Had no idea what I was about to say.
Yeah. But I, like I said, I mean, I hope it's good. I think that's all I can say is I
I
hope it's
doubt
good.
it will, dude. Because if the docu-series was just called the Attitude Era, which there probably is something out there that just covered the Attitude Era,
Yeah.
that would be good. This is not gonna be good because Vince McMahon's contribution is, and I don't know if it was him or not, but finding Stone Cold and whoever wrote Stone
Yeah.
Cold and Triple H and Mankind and then Undertaker, the Ministry, like
That's what I want to know. Who wrote those stories? right?
Because
Because
that's where the talent
Stone
was.
Cold was the $1 million man before he was Stone Cold, right? Like all these guys were someone before, and then they became that character, right? So like Mankind obviously was Cactus Jack before he was Mankind. The Rock was Rocky Maivia, right? Like I think I saw was there a
Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
yeah, was there a documentary on The Rock at one point? Or so, maybe there is something that I watched that's some sort of WWE documentary. Because I remember watching something that talked about The Rock's career when he started out as Rocky Maivia. People hated him to the point where Vince McMahon pulled him off like the show, right? Like he just became the guy that fought in matches that weren't on TV because they tried to push him out there and they tried to make him popular and everyone hated him. So when he was Rocky Maivia and he was part of what was the name of that? Like
Nation of
the Nation
Domination.
of Domination. Yeah, yeah. With Farouk and I don't know, I forget who else was in that, but it was The Rock was in there before he was The Rock. And then they talked about how The Rock became The Rock, right? He stopped being Rocky Maivia and he leaned into the heel, right? Like he went hardcore, like, okay, fuck it. Like if they're going to hate me, then I'm going to be the baddest bad guy ever. And then he went through that process. And then after that, he made a face turn and became arguably the most popular wrestler of all time, right? Like I would say it's probably Hulk Hogan and The Rock, right? As far as like the most popular wrestlers ever.
Vince Russo was the head writer
Hmm.
for the WWF during the Attitude Era.
Well, Vince Russo needs a documentary.
And then Ed Ferreira as well.
Yeah. I mean, those guys are great, right? Like the whole Triple H thing, right? He's Paul Levesque, right?
Yeah,
Like
he was some weird fucking French guy.
he was Paul Levesque from Southern New Hampshire, right? And then they turned him into Triple H, right? Even Kane, like Glenn Jacobs from, I don't know if he's from Tennessee, but obviously I know that's where he lives now because he's the mayor or, you know, somewhat some,
He's a mayor in Tennessee.
um, but like he was just Glenn Jacobs, right? And then they turned him into Kane, right? Well, before he was Kane, he was Diesel. I think his name was Diesel.
No, Diesel was Kevin Nash.
Um, what the fuck was Kane then? Because he wasn't always Kane. He was he was Diesel.
He
Yeah,
was okay. Well, Kevin Nash was also Diesel.
yeah. So Kane, and then he was Isaac Yankem. That was such a shitty persona. Isaac Yankem, DDS, like he was a fake dentist who would like yank people's teeth out. Like that was shitty. That's who he was before he was Kane.
Cool.
Yeah, yeah. Um, oh, he was trained by Dean Malenko, Glenn Jacobs.
Everyone was.
Dude, 7 feet tall, 330 pounds. Imagine your mayor, like the mayor of your fucking city is Kane, 7 feet tall, 330 pounds. But yeah, I mean, how they wrote the whole um Kane Undertaker, like
Everything.
with Paul Bearer, like bringing him in and all that. Like, it's just it was real chef's kiss, right? Like that was it literally doesn't get much better than that. So yeah, like I said, I will be watching the Mr. McMahon series, and I hope it's not a letdown.
You can let me know how it goes.
Yeah.
Until then, I'll just get drunk and watch old fucking matches on YouTube like I did on Saturday.
Like how what I did on paternity leave.
Yeah.
I was just watching old wrestling matches from the late 90s. All right. Well, that said, you want to wrap this up? So we got another one to do.
We can wrap this up. So I think it was our last episode. We had the whole belt sander debate, whatever.
Yes, we did.
So in the latest of things that I never thought I would fucking buy is an electric wood chipper.
Okay.
So the electric wood chipper is really only kind of graded for like smaller branches.
Yeah.
So what stemmed this was I went down to my mother's cottage to help her out. I brought a chainsaw and a pole saw. Now, I couldn't quite get high as I wanted on the pole saw, but um also cutting stuff down. So I probably sat there and cut shit down for like maybe 20 minutes.
Yeah.
The next 2 hours were like cleaning it all up. And I'm
Yep.
like, I can't do this shit anymore. And that's after I did so the same thing, pole saw, trimming branches, shit like that at my new house. And it's like 10 minutes to trim it all down and then like an hour and a half to clean it all up. I cannot continue to do this anymore.
Yeah.
So I ordered the wood chipper. So the way I see it is those small branches and plants and weeds and whatever, once it dries out, that'll all go through that. And then
Yeah.
anything with any actual diameter to it, I'll just burn. So like I'll
Right.
save that stuff and let it dry out. But like I'm not gonna sit there and be like, oh, free mulch. It's like, no.
Yeah.
Just I need this shit to disappear.
Yeah. Yeah. Just go away.
I'm already sick of it. And I'm not even remotely close to being done. And that's at both places too. So this is gonna have to be a traveling wood chipper too.
Yeah. How big is it?
They're not that dude, they're like you can look one up. They're not that big. The electric ones.
Yeah.
Like
Talking like the
because
size of like a printer or like a little bit.
no, almost like a size of like a kitchen barrel on a stand almost.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Maybe a little like taller than that, but
Yeah.
um they're not bad.
Oh yeah, I see them. Yeah, it does look like it looks like a rug cleaner.
Yeah, something like that. But
Yeah.
again, it's only supposed to be used for like smaller branches, which is all I need it for, because the other stuff I can burn,
Yeah.
which technically I could burn everything, but it's a lot of burning.
Yeah.
Yep, so that's where we're at. Snap jerk reaction on that front. I
Belt sander, wood chipper.
haven't
Yeah.
bought the belts. I haven't handled a belt sander
Yeah.
yet.
I mean,
Well,
it's
because now
coming.
I'm running out of time. Like I haven't been over there with like time to bang the nails down. So
Right.
I
Right.
don't bang the nails down. I got no use for a sander.
Right. Well, it's always fun, right?
Yeah.
Well, my final thought is about the movie Fall Guy. So it's relatively new. I think it came out within the last probably 6 months, I think. But it just went to Peacock. Shout out to Jones again for letting me use his Peacock. The only
Wait, is this
down,
Ryan Gosling?
yeah, it is. Have you
Okay, we
seen it?
started watching this. I think we both fell asleep.
Yeah, so I was just about to say the only downfall about it being on Peacock is they only have the extended version, which is like 2.5 hours long. So we did not watch it in one sitting. We watched it in, I think it ended up being three sittings. um, because the same thing, like I started falling asleep one night and then we watched it the next morning, but then we had to stop and then we something happened, like we needed to do something with the baby or whatever, and then it was like, oh shit, we still need to finish that show. But we did finish it, and it's a pretty good movie. I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. I think Ryan Gosling, it's going to be weird to say this, but I think Ryan Gosling is kind of an underrated actor. I feel like he gets a lot of flack because everyone's like, oh, he's a pretty boy. Like people still go after Ryan Gosling for like the Notebook, right? And like that whole shit where it's like, oh, all he does is like romance, whatever. He's just pretty and all this stuff. Like when it really comes down to it, like he's actually like a really good actor. Like I think everything I've seen him in, he's been good. Um, so I think it's just one of those again where I think he's underrated. Um, for his acting prowess, right? I think he gets a lot of flack because of his good looks. Um, but it was a really good movie. It's one of those like, when the regular version comes out and it's not 2.5 hours long director's cut, I would watch it again for sure. But yeah, do you guys know how far you made it through?
Nope. Couldn't even tell you.
45 minutes.
Maybe longer than that, but
Yeah, yeah.
I don't even know.
Yeah, but I mean, it's worth it, right? It's worth finishing. It's a good, like I said, it's a good movie. So, shout out to Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt. She's really good in it too. Um, all right, so that's it. That's gonna do it for us. Thank you for watching. If you're on YouTube, click subscribe up above. Hit the thumbs up down below. Get us on Instagram at Sarcasm Speaks Pod. Twitter is Sarcasm_speaks. Facebook is Sarcasm Speaks. The website, sarcasmspeaks.com. Check out the show notes below. Support the sponsors, support us, get some cool stuff along the way. And until next time, good night, everybody.